Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. Here we grow again. It is a magical Monday here in the studio, and I hope you're doing just fine wherever you are receiving this broadcast. At it again, and grateful for it. So today I have decided to go back to Old Faithful, the Untethered Soul 52 card deck that is quotes taken from the book, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. I just really enjoy the gamification aspect of pulling a card randomly and seeing what the universe has in store today, and it also gives me a great prompt to, just talk about something that, the book is definitely an inspiration in my own life. Highly recommend it. And this 52 card deck just has quotes from the book that when I pull, it's been pretty cool. I've pulled maybe 10 cards out of the 52 so far, something like that, and I've re-pulled the same cards a few times. One time I pulled the same 3 from the previous episode, which was really interesting. So we'll see what we get again today. I have a sort of a list of the ones that I pulled in the past. So in case I get a repeat, I'll go on and pull something else, in its place. But definitely fun. And speaking of interacting in this way and just kind of riffing off of, this book in this case and some of the incredible concepts shared throughout the book. But I also really like interacting with listeners, and it's been a while. I used to, in the past, people would write in regularly with questions or thoughts that I could address on the show. So I feel inspired to kind of give a quick shout out to do that. If you have something that you would like to hear me talk about, address an issue in your own life, etc., you can email me at brandon@positivehead.com. And if it's something that feels inspiring to discuss, I will read your question on the show, and you can say, to leave anonymous or not or whatever. Love to get back to that. It's been a while since I've addressed any questions. So hope to hear from some of you. And in the meantime, let's shuffle up this Untethered Soul card deck and see what the universe has in store. Okay, got one here. Let me look at my little picture of past cards. Make sure it's not one that I pulled. Doesn't look like it, just from glancing at it. Okay, here it is. Haven't pulled this one before. Most of life will unfold in accordance with forces far outside your control, regardless of what your mind says about it. I like this. It's something that we, of course, talk about. I've talked about recently, actually, as a guest the other day on someone else's podcast. This idea of life playing out at the corner of free will and destiny is what comes up for me, because as I often say, life is what happens when our plans don't work out. So we think, and we like to think, that we're in control. And I think the number one thing we are in control of truly is our perspective as to how we deal with whatever is arising, right? And yes, do we manifest certain things by focusing our attention? There's always so much controversy around the law of attraction. I mean, I just saw an article today in Vice about it, randomly on my social media. And, I think it's like so many things in life. Is it in your control? Is it out of your control? Yes. Both, depending on the vantage point. And it's, just like the idea, you and I are separate. You and I are one, relative truths. Both are true, depending on the vantage point from which we're speaking. So what we can definitely control is our perspective on how we approach whatever is arising in our world. And I think the way it's structured personally is our higher self has a certain agenda and certain key points that your avatar, your life experience is going to experience. But within those key experiences, there's a lot of wiggle room around that and different timelines and paths and potentials, right? So you have some say and certainly choice in how you perceive what's arising, but regardless of what your mind says about it, there's going to be certain things that arise for you to grow from that you have already signed off on. A higher version of yourself has signed off on. Your higher self is wants that to be in the equation, no matter what you choose. So, I think there's a lot outside of our control in life, and we can look at it and see that life, the past is not exactly like you remembered it. The future never shows up exactly like you imagine it. And that's why it's so important to sink fully into the now and fully appreciate the now and really focus on the one thing we 100% always can control, and that is our perspective. So life's going to unfold in accordance with forces outside of your control, oftentimes. And then sometimes it's like, oh, wow, I created that. I manifested that. I put a lot of energy into seeing this thing in my movie, and voila, here it is. Cool. Congratulations. And don't be too caught up on that always happening and it always looking and seeing and sounding exactly like you'd have imagined it. Because, as I often say, your higher self is playing chess and you're playing checkers. And so what you think is ideal to call in or manifest isn't always what is going to lead to your greatest growth and good. And if you can always go back to the truth of, this is happening for me, not to me. And whether I chose it or didn't choose it, whether I was consciously calling it in or not, I trust the mystery of how it's unfolding. And that, my friend, is where all the power is in that perspective and bringing that to the situation, whatever it arises. So getting too caught up in, I am a master manifester and I call in exactly and only what I want to see, I think we're missing the point if we get too caught up in that. And it's more nuanced. It's more of a dance with your higher self. It's more of a blending with your conscious human avatar and your higher self's agenda that is unfolding. And there's a lot, and I talk about this in my book, The Golden Key, all the things that go into the soup of what you cook up to actually experience in your life. And so if you want to go deeper, go to Golden Key, goldenkey.gift, of course, and with the code Positive Head, you can get the book. Love that concept. It's an important one. I'm glad that came up because it's one that I think so many people get caught up on and focused on and tripped up on. And then it can cause them to lose faith in their ability and, start questioning. I think back to my friend years ago talking about spirituality and spiritual perspectives. He's like, oh, I tried that. It didn't work. Probably because he didn't manifest like the right flavor of beer he wanted at the supermarket or whatever, something silly, I'm sure. But it's more nuanced than I think most people. It's not so black and white. What do you know? It's a gray world. Surprise, surprise. All right, I actually pulled two cards at the time I pulled. And so let's see this other one. Oh, this is one I pulled last time. I'll just say it again. It's funny how I pull the same ones so often. The more you sit in the self, the more you will begin to feel an energy that you have never experienced before. It comes up from behind rather than in front, where you experience your mind and emotions. So if you want to hear me go kind of deep on that one, you can always go to positivehead.com, the podcast page, search, Untethered Soul, for example, and you'll pull up every episode where I've ever pulled from this deck. So the most recent one, I talk about that card, so I won't do that again, but I just thought I would at least share it. Since it is coming up again, I'm pretty sure that means there's something there for each and every one of us. It definitely rings true with me, spending more time to, we're back to like creating without taking action, right? It's sort of in the same theme, in a sense, that card. Okay, let's pull a different one here. I've pulled this one before too. Okay, let's read it again. A wise person remains centered enough to let go every time the energy shifts into a defensive mode. The moment the energy moves, relax and release. Letting go means falling behind the energy instead of going into it. Whew, I definitely can see why I would pull that one again. That's a great one for me. When you sense that you're in a defensive mode, let go. Oh, I'm off track. I'm out of alignment. This is not the way. To go against what the Mandalorian says, this is not the way. I am in defensive mode. Let go. I know that's an opportunity to relax and release. And so if you want to go deeper on that whole concept, go find the episode where I talked about it in the past. So let's pull again. Let's see if we can get a freshie. Okay, I don't think I pulled this one. Simply permit the pain to come into your heart and pass through. If you do that, it will pass. If you are sincerely seeking truth, you'll let go every time. Simply permit the pain to come into your heart and pass through. So, wow, yeah, that's one. How many of us how easy is it? Maybe not easy, let's say natural, instinctual is it for a lot of us to look for the opportunity to avoid pain and to, any distraction. Let's watch TV. Let's take a substance. Let's talk on the phone. Let's browse social media until we go numb and not feel the pain, not allow the pain. And the thing about these emotions, their energy and motion, they want to be felt. And it's like they want their time, they want their moment in the sun of your conscious mind and your heart and your awareness. And when you avoid, all you're doing is saying, let's stuff that down and perhaps allow it to fester. Let's take the, it's like taking food that you don't want to deal with and putting it on the back shelf and leaving it to go moldy and start rotting and getting worse, right? Instead, allowing the pain to come into your heart, allowing it to pass through you. As I was scrolling through the past cards to see if this is one I'd pulled, one jumped out that just said, your heart is an instrument, right? At the beginning of it. And so understanding your heart is meant to process pain. And just like joy, and just like, and by the way, the amount of joy that you can process is going to be equal and tied to in some way the amount of pain that you can process. So if you do that, you're allowing it to actually, the energy to pass, to move, energy in motion, instead of it becoming stuck and stagnant and festering and becoming worse. And if you're brave enough to face these painful moments, these painful challenges, and you're sincerely seeking to know and learn the lesson for it, and showing up courageously to learn and experience. I'm here for it, right? I'm here for it to experience all the varying degrees of pain and joy and everything in between that my life wants to share with me. You're going to be able to move through it as effectively and efficiently as possible. And you'll let go. You'll move through it every time. It's like Yoda says, train yourself to lose everything that you hold dear, or paraphrasing. But, once you can get to that point, instead of like Anakin Skywalker in the movies where he doesn't do that. If any of you fellow Star Wars nerds will remember when he held on to this vision of losing his child or whatever, and that he went to the dark side in order to overcome death, right? And it led to this disfiguration and the evil to thrive within him. And instead you can letting go. It allows things to pass. It allows you to move on. And that is the path. This is the way to processing and becoming the greatest and greatest version of yourself, to optimizing yourself and getting to the upside, getting to the wins, if you will, and the things that you really want to experience more fully. You'll be in a very healthy state to fully expand into higher heights than ever before by being courageous enough and navigating the low points more gracefully. All right, that's my story. I'm sticking to it for today. Hope you have enjoyed it. I know I have. This has been cool. Love doing this. Yeah, don't be shy. Reach out. Drop me an email, brandon@positivehead.com. Give me a good question, topic, something you'd like to hear me talk about. Would love to co-create an episode with you in that way. With that being said, I do have a song to leave you with. This is, I actually know this guy, Tanner. His artist name is Skyzia. Got to see him last weekend perform. Great artist. This song is called Memory. Hope you enjoy. Till next time, journey well.